Okay. So you need care, yeah, okay. And as I said, they didn't used to require details, but now they do. And you have to assign the copyright to the journal. And if necessary, you describe it in the form of a mini abstract, okay? So there's now, more than 20 years ago, there's a lot more care required in the cover letter. And you can think of this as maybe even the first page of your manuscript, because it can have a very big impact in terms of selection of referees. When you name referees, 3 or 4 or even 5. And remember, you can also name people that you do not want to be your referees. But in that case, you have to give a reason. Okay? It would be difficult to get an objective review, etc. For suggesting reviewers, you don't need to say why. As I said, not famous people, but preferably people who you've met at meetings and who have an understanding of your work, understand what kind of problems you have, what kind of problems you have getting subjects or getting funding or the right equipment or the number of subjects, and people who are doing actual work in the field. They will have more empathy, more feeling towards you. Now, if your journal is American or Canadian, I would say give 2 North American names and 1 or 2 European or Asian. Because especially the Americans and the Europeans, they tend to favor themselves, okay? But they're also willing to see, I've never tried this European guy, or I've never tried this Asian guy, maybe. And if it's a European journal, 2 Europeans and 1 to 2 North American or Asian. That's why people that you've met at meetings help you with your naming of your referees. And that's why a lone wolf approach to going out and widening your circle of contact is important. And you should never tell a colleague that you've suggested them as reviewers, because it could happen that I suggest Dr. Lee as a reviewer, and they say, oh, you might get asked by the journal, I hope you are nice to my paper. But he doesn't get asked. So he'll feel very bad. He knows he was suggested, but he doesn't get asked by the journal, so he ends up feeling bad. So don't mention that, okay? And as I said, the journals are always looking for new, good reviewers, and if the reviewers are good, the journal improves. And the journals are usually not able to know the new active investigators in each field, and therefore getting somebody who is young, starting out, who also has the kind of problems that you have, is what you want. And this we did before. Now, this was the letter that I mentioned before, that we wrote about, the first case of curative treatment of lung cancer by photodynamic therapy by Dr. Hayata was my mentor who made it possible for me to have the career I have had. And this is the type of explanation you can give if you want. Dr. Cortese and Dr. Edel have much knowledge in this field. Although our 2 institutions compete, we are competitors. We respect each other, and I think they would both give very fair and balanced evaluations. So we're saying, yes, they're competitors, but we trust that their evaluation would be fair. And Professor Patrice is one of the very few clinicians. If you remember, he's MD, PhD. who also has an excellent grasp of the preclinical basic science involved in this new emerging modality. And I don't know exactly who was chosen. I think it was, I'm not sure. I know it was either Dr. Curtiz or Dr. Hidal. And again, I've shown you this before. This is the very basic, minimal kind of letter that you would write. Now, include in the references, this is an important point. If you suggest referees, be sure to include some of their papers as references. Because if you're asked to review a paper, okay, that means that you're an expert in the field. And so I've told Dr. Lee I'm asking the journal to consider him as a reviewer, and he gets asked to review it. And nothing he has written is in the paper. No reference, no paper. So obviously, you have to think, even if the people that you are suggesting are not asked to review, you have to think, okay, this is the American Society for da-da-da. Okay, and in that society, the people who are involved with my area or the area of my paper are so-and-so, 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 so-and-so. You make sure that you have at least one reference to all those people in your discussion, if you can. It's a little childish, maybe, but it works. And this is the Ronbun.jp thing that we're translating into English, which we have a series on cover letters, and cover letters are for case reports, editorials, original research, review articles. This is here, cover letter. Okay. So you can, an example of that is this, and here you have editor's first name, editor's family name, but here only Dear Doctor family name, as I explained that last week. And then you put the manuscript title here for publication in, here at journal name. This type of study, prospective, randomized, double-blind, multi-center, investigated. Here you put the study hypothesis, focusing on, and here you add the primary endpoint, and then the reasons for doing the study, and then you describe the results. We feel that the findings from this study will be of special interest to the readers of, add the journal name. And without wishing to take a liberty, my co-authors and I would like to suggest as potential referees, Dr. A, address, fax, phone, email, Dr. B, address, fax, phone, email, and Dr. C. It's not been published. It is not under consideration for publication elsewhere. All the authors have read the manuscript, financials, and also if the journal requires you to have all the authors sign the copyright document, just like we did last week in the ethics thing, you should make sure that that is done. And you cannot, and also you have to state any potential conflict of interest.